Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel here. This is the February 15th edition of NXT for 2012. We open with Matt Striker, who had been jumped out last week prior by Hawkins and Rex, and basically Striker says he can no longer handle being the matchmaker for the program on his own. He brings out a substitute. That substitute, of course, is the returning William Regal. That is there. This takes about 7.5 minutes to accomplish, including video packages. Completely goofy that, in fact, this needs to be done in the level that they're doing it, but when you don't have a lot of creative ability, that's there. Needless to say, Hawkins and TJ Wilson, or TJ Kidd, is a match here. The influence with Beretta and the attack on him. Kidd is super talented and has a lot of babyface potential now that they've decided to give him full babyface reign. There are a couple up kicks and slide to the outside by Hawkins, who manages to kind of slow the match down with some reverse chin locks and basic things there, nothing necessarily to write home about, but at the same time getting everything he needs to get in a meaningful directive. A jump back kick and a spinning kick by Tyson Kidd. Kidd manages to do everything he can do and drop kick to the outside, trying to get under the skin and under the chin of his adversary, and a penalty kick along the way there as well. Then we see Hawkins come back into the ring. Beautiful roll through. Lots of speed, but also nothing that doesn't make sense. Hawkins manages to cut things off, hits a leaping impaler DDT style maneuver, and tries to roll up his adversary. Does not get the roll up completed. TJ Kidd comes back from that maneuver and the facials from TJ Hawkins, or not TJ Hawkins, Kurt Hawkins. Pretty impressive. Slingshot into a elbow drop by Tyson Kidd gets him the victory here, and ultimately that manages to be what is needed and kind of roll through, and ultimately we get the sharpshooter as the final maneuver by Tyson Kidd, and Hawkins has to tap whether he likes it or not. So, Tyson Kidd being placed in a very aggressive position. Then we go to Yoshitatsu and Titus O'Neil. Tatsu, of course, your babyface, coming back after being gone for a couple of months from the program. Don't know if he was on the main program. It's hard to remember 10 years ago, but it's here, and for the sake of argument, not anything terrible to worry about at the time. So dropping across the knee, manages to do everything he can, and hard shots there by Yoshitatsu. Tatsu manages several kicks in the corner. The buckle is holding him up. Running knee by Tatsu. Doesn't get everything he wants on it, but gets enough that he is able to take Titus O'Neil down. O'Neil, though, comes back pretty aggressively and does get a victory. Kind of making fun of Regal and going at that. After which we see Alicia Fox and Caitlyn having a conversation, basically implying that Derek Bateman needs a intervention. Bateman tries to give gifts to Maxine. Maxine never gets them because Johnny Curtis interrupts them, takes the candy and the roses and takes them away. Return of Michael McGillicuddy, a.k.a. Curtis Axel, this time facing off against Percy Watson. Watson does a good bit of offense, drop kicks, forearms, and the like. Still a lot of kind of bump and feed there. Axel does come back with a good bit of, I guess you'd say, heel fire. Although finally Percy Watson does get a victory and is celebrating. Not quite sure it makes a lot of sense to bring a guy back and then defeat him again. Teasing of a um, teasing of a another romance storyline for Tamina Snuka. Then we go to highlights of Raw for several minutes because we have to kill time on this less than important internet show. Derek Bateman is back out here having yet another match with Heath Slater, trying to avenge himself, Johnny Curtis, and Johnny Curtis is involved in this as well. And I mean, ultimately, Derek Bateman wants to get vengeance. This amounts to a tag match. The returning Justin Gabriel, who was from earlier editions of NXT, is Bateman's partner, and Gabriel and Bateman take on Johnny Curtis and Heath Slater. Interesting team there. Both guys or do dives outside the ring. Might as well say die because so many dives no longer mean anything. Used to mean something in Japan in the late 80s, early 90s. They don't mean anything now because everyone and their brother can do them. Women can do them, men can do them, fat people can do them, thin people can do them, and I swear sometimes even small children can do them. Anyway, so we see a forearm by Heath Slater on Justin Gabriel. Slater certainly is more charismatic than I remember him being at the time. Attempted roll up. Nice go behinds by Justin Gabriel. Kind of an interesting thing, the idea of him being a guy who ultimately is not a guy who necessarily is there, and it ends up going in an interesting direction, to say the very least. So Maxine comes out and she interferes with Caitlyn. They get into a fight. Johnny Curtis is grinning on the outside of the ring and happy that not only that his team won, but that he's causing issues between Caitlyn and Maxine and the fight, and Derek Bateman getting the backlash of his issues. Anyway, that'll be the end of this. We'll be back with more right after this.